Hi everyone and welcome back to SunBurst Tarot, where today we're going to be doing my Learn With Me Astrology Part 1, and that is going to be looking at the Zodiac Signs and some of their more common groupings that we all know. So, just letting y'all know some disclaimers out of the way before we even really get into this, because I'm like, we got to have some disclaimers. One, just letting you know, if you all want to follow along, my notes are available on my website to download if you guys would like to use those to follow along. These are just notes that I have gathered through multiple sources, compiled, and put into a document for you guys to use. They are completely free on my website, where you can go in, add your information, download them, and follow along. Otherwise, if you would like an interactive set of notes, I have those for purchase on my website. And those interactive notes are essentially notes. They're already kind of made out. They're like pre-typed. And then I do have sections where you get to essentially, it's like fill in the blank type of sections, interactive notes that I have for you if y'all would like to have those available. I do have those for purchase on my website. Both of those are linked down below in the description box of this video, as well as in the pinned comment. So wanted to let you guys know, if you wanted to go get those before we get into the video, feel free. I completely understand. I like having notes in front of me that I can follow along with and be like, where's all this coming from? And it's all conveniently right there for you guys to use. So I have that. First things first. Okay. Second thing here is some disclaimers. One, I like to say I'm a beginner at this. I'm learning. It's called Learn With Me. So if you guys are looking for someone who's like, I know the tricks of the trade, I know everything that there is to know, I'm an expert in the field, please go find a video with someone doing that. I am not that person. This is learning with me. You guys get to learn alongside me the different ways that kind of how my brain works as I'm teaching myself things and finding information. So that's what this video is all about. Second thing is, again, this is all my own interpretation of the information that I have kind of found out on sources online that I've found, using systems to help me compile information to make it easier for my brain to understand, and the such. So if y'all are looking for like the complete everything you need to know guide to everything and anything to know about astrology, this isn't the place. I don't got all the information. I don't got everything. This is just me putting out there what I've learned so far, putting it in an easy, digestible way for people to follow along. So that's what I got. Oh, right. So with that disclaimer out of the way, my brain's going to work with you differently than yours. So if this isn't clicking for you, or if this is like, this isn't how my brain works, completely understand. Just be knowing that this is how my brain works. I like looking at things from a very big level, and then I like to dive into the smaller concepts. So that's how my brain works. If you're like someone who's like, I like to dive into the smaller concepts and then see how they apply to bigger ones, maybe this video or series won't be for you, because that's just not how my brain works. So, all right. That's my disclaimer out of the way. So with that, then let's get into this lovely, lovely Learn With Me Astrology, looking at part 1, signs and or groupings. So that's what I'm starting with here as we're learning astrology with the birth charts, how we're looking at it from a societal level, but also how we can apply it to individual levels as well. So we're looking at the zodiac signs and groupings today. If y'all are like, I know everything to know about zodiac signs, awesome. If y'all are looking for like the comprehensive list, awesome, go find it. This is probably just like a very more general brief overview of how is things grouped, how are the signs, what are strengths, what are weaknesses, what's just general information about them. So with that, let's kind of start into, well, now that I've probably laid the groundwork for everything, let's get into learning. What have I learned and how am I sharing it with y'all? So let's get into this. Woo! So learning astrology, what we're going to be going through in this presentation. So one is we're going to be learning what is astrology, where has it come from, how long has it been around, A little bit of history. What can we know about it? Where did it start? How has it evolved? And the such. Then we're going to go into some of the common groupings that of the zodiac signs. Like, what are general characteristics that we can assign to groupings of the zodiac signs? What are those general characteristics? And as we group them, how can we see where there are patterns and where there aren't patterns? Again, these are just general concepts about the signs and what some of them may be. Then we're going to go into each and every sign, just giving some a brief strengths, weaknesses, what are some important characteristics of them, as well as just other additional information that we found. So, alrighty, so that's what I got here. If that sounds interesting, stick around. Let's have some fun. All right, so first things first, let's get into astrology. What the heck is it? Why do we need to learn it? Why do people want to learn it? And the such. Where did it come from? What does it all do? So, to understand it, let's figure out what is astrology. So, astrology is a type of divination that involves the forecasting of earthly and human events through the observation and interpretation of the fixed stars, the sun, the moon, and the planets. So, people that believe believe that when we understand the influence of the planets and stars on the planets and stars and how they affect things going on here at Earth, it allows us to predict the effect and destinies of individuals, groups, and nations. So, just some history behind astrology. So, the study of stars or astrology has been around for millennia. And when looking at these historical events of the past, we've been able to analyze them and actually see patterns kind of evolve, grow, and kind of emerge from specific planetary alignments throughout Earth's history. A really good example of this that I found as of recently is one is looking at the transit of Pluto. So Pluto, as we know, is the planet that's way out there. Also, some people don't believe Pluto is a planet. Cough, cough. Yeah, I believe in Pluto's a planet at this point in time. But you know what? Everyone can be like, yeah, I'm a denier, I'm a Pluto denier. And I'm like, okay, whatever, have fun. Yay. So an example of this, so as of recently, a recent transit that just occurred here with Pluto. So Pluto was just most recently in Capricorn. As I'm recording this, it is December 11th, 2024. And Pluto came out of Capricorn on November 17th, 2024. And it had been in, Pluto had been in Capricorn since 2008 until November 2008 to November of 2024. So about 20 odd-ish years. Where it had, oh boy, oh, that was some crickety cracking over there in my shoulders. So during that time, here from November 2008 to November 2024, there was major political shifts and divisiveness, as we've seen. There's a giant financial crisis of 2008. They had the giant Brexit and the election of Donald Trump, as well as the development and increased use of AI. So the last time Pluto, before this November 2008 to November 2024, the last time Pluto had been in Capricorn was from January 1762 to December 1778. Here's some really interesting parallels during that time frame to this most recent transit in Pluto. So the most recent transit in Pluto, we had that financial crisis of 2008, right? You know, the last time Pluto was in Capricorn, well, the American War of Independence started over the taxation of goods coming from Britain on the American people, which led to significant switch, oh boy, to independence and prosperity for the United States, creating a land of opportunities for hard workers. There was also the invention of the spinning wheel and the power loom that led to that ushered in the Industrial Revolution. We've currently now had the development and increased use of AI in this most current transit, as well as just political upheaval as well, just in general during that last Pluto in Capricorn cycle. So that's kind of just some examples of how we're seeing some parallels from dang near like 200, 300 years ago to today's transits, which we can see kind of some patterns coming out from, right? So that's kind of just how we can see patterns evolving in current day from astrology through history, and how we can kind of see those patterns evolving several hundreds of years later. So, yeah. All right. So, next thing. So, as we're looking at astrology as well, there are two different versions of astrology that there's kind of out there. So, we have our modern astrology and we have traditional astrology. So, modern astrology is one that's kind of came up here in the early 1900s, where there was where modern astrology is actually adding in different planets because we've discovered them all of a sudden. But modern astrology just generally focuses more on psychological and character oriented, and is centered around prediction methods on the individual, rather more on the individual than, say, like society. Some typical chart types that are used in modern astrology, a lot of people are familiar with Placidus and the Koch, which are two of the more popular ones that people are using. So that's in modern astrology. Some other interesting tidbits about modern astrology is modern astrology's 8th house is the house of 6, and it adds the planets of Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto to its repertoire of planets that are affecting the individual in society. So for traditional astrology, it's more focused on external, situational, and event-oriented, placing emphasis on evaluating the conditions of planets and sometimes fortunate or sometimes very unfortunate events from a very societal level. The chart type that's used here is the whole house sign, where each individual house and is given a sign, because each sign has, how they look at it from a traditional sense is each sign holds a certain importance to each house, where sometimes in the Koch or Placidus charts, it's sometimes the zodiac sign doesn't play a huge part, or sometimes it plays a huge part, sometimes it plays a very small part in each house. Just the differences here. Also, for traditional astrology, traditional astrologists see the 5th house including sex and the pleasures with others, family, children, and partners, rather than the 8th house. So just something very different to associate between the two different methods, between the 5th house and the 8th house. And then traditional also only uses the Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. It does not do those 3 outer planets like modern astrology does. So just some differences between what we're using here in modern astrology versus traditional astrology. All right, next. So just letting you guys know on how I kind of plan to move forward using astrology. I'm not going with any one certain one, y'all. That's just how I feel. For me, and what I'm going to be focusing on and we'll be reading for like natal charts moving forward is really going to be using the whole house sign system, because I like using it. It's easier for me to understand. And then I plan on doing that and mixing with it a little bit of the traditional astrology by adding in those 3 outer planets, such as the Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto. So a little bit differing than, say, the traditional whole house sign method. That's the combo that I really like. It's one that kind of makes sense to me, because it's like, if we have all the planets, let's use all the planets, as they're going to have influences and effects on things here on Earth. We kind of seen that. So that's how I plan on doing things moving forward. All right. So with that then, where do we start, right? Where are we going to start with this whole thing? So as we're starting in, again, I said we're going over zodiac signs in this one. So we're going to really start where the basics, the absolute basics, and that is with the zodiac signs. As for me, they are the most base thing in astrology that you kind of need to know as a whole. They are the most recognizable sign. These zodiac signs are the most recognizable. And again, if we're going through astrology and the such, like, before I get to know what the houses all mean, before I get to know what all the planets mean, like, let's look at what the zodiac signs themselves mean and how can we characterize them to help us understand them better. So yeah. So what I have here is just our regular old zodiac sign base thing, what everything kind of means, the different planets associated with them. Yeah, so we have house 1 with Aries, house 11 with Aquarius, and just the general energy there. So as you see, we're going to be moving from the outside in. So let's get into just some common groupings of the zodiac signs. So some of these you guys are going to know probably already, but just for those who are like brand new into this and just like, where do we even start? How does this all work? Let's get into it. So the first the 2 groupings that we're going to be looking at here are going to be the elements. Most people probably know, like, ooh, you got your fire signs, your earth signs, your air signs, your water signs, and some maybe general characteristics that you kind of all maybe already know, or maybe they're going to be brand new to you. And then we're going to be going into the modalities, as I like to call them, the cardinal, the mutable, and the fixed sign groupings, which some people might not be as familiar with, but or you could be really familiar with. So these all have their own little groupings that they do have, some that you probably will know about, some that you might not. So let's get into the first set of groupings here, and that is going to be looking at the elements of the signs. What are all the signs? What are they? So for our first set, we're going to look at the fire signs. So our fire signs, with the awesome triangle here, are elemental signs. So characteristics for fire signs, they're typically very bold, brash, daring individuals. So these are my Aries. If you're looking at the different signs for them, they are the Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. These signs are typically, fire signs are known for being very hot-headed, passionate, always got ideas and the such. If you're looking at a direction for them, I always associate the sign of fire with the direction of south. Okay, then we have our water signs. Water signs are the Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. They are known to be very emotional, intuitive, and deeply in touch with their subconscious. Sometimes these signs can get very overwhelmed by their feelings. Remember, these are just general characteristics of these signs. It does not mean that each and every single person has these things. Every individual probably has a mixture of all of these signs in them, just some general characteristics. All right, the next we have our earth signs, which are very solid, practical individuals. These are like very grounded, and these are Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorns as the zodiac signs. They also can be a little bit overly obsessed with the material sometimes, not saying that they always are, so sometimes, and they can be pretty stubborn and unyielding individuals. Completely understand that one. All right, and then lastly, we have our air signs, which they're known for being very communicative. Your chatty Cathys, as you will. They're very sharp, they're very intellectual, but sometimes they can get into their heads or overindulge in fantasy and the theoretical sciences of the universe. These signs are Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. So that's what we got there for our elemental season. All right. So next we have our modalities, which some people might not know too much about. So what the modalities are is they group them by essentially what is their position in the zodiac sign. So, or not just position within the zodiacs, but with our cardinals, we'll just go with our modalities. This is a second interpretation of it. So for our cardinal signs, we have cardinal, or the modalities are cardinal, fixed, and mutable. So for our first modality. They are the cardinal signs. They are known for being leaders, trendsetters, visionaries, dynamic go-getters, and self-starters. So, and the signs that are here are the Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn signs. Whoo! And all four of these signs actually kickstart off a season. So for Aries, they kickstart off the season of spring. Cancers kickstart off the season of summer. Libras kickstart off the season of autumn. Capricorns kickstart the season of winter. So they're kind of like the first one when you're looking at a season of like this is the start of a season for each one of them. Again, leaders, self-starters, go-getters, and the such. The next one is we have our fixed signs. So our fixed signs are like the second one, kind of after you go after the cardinal signs, and these individuals or these signs can be characterized as being very good at just doing things. They're good at following plans. They're very loyal, and they're also very stubborn individuals. Signs here are Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. So, yeah, okay. And then we have, last but not least, our mutable signs, who are very flexible, adaptable, and good with change. These signs are Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces. A really good explanation that I can kind of give when we're looking at the different modalities. I kind of have the idea of like a party planning. So when it comes to planning a party, like how would you look at each one of these groups and like how they're in the party planning? So the cardinal signs would be like the group that says, hey, let's have the party. This is where, like, let's have the party. It'll be like this kind of theme, and we can get this group of people together. And they're like the people who kind of get the whole plan started. They put the ideas into place, sometimes idea generators. So they're like, yeah, they're like, have the party. Here's who we want invited. So let's, and here's the type of food and the theme that we have. So that's kind of the energy of the cardinal signs. For our fixed signs, when it comes to party planning, they'd be like, okay, you guys have the plan. Now we're going to kind of like send out the invitations. We're going to get all of we're going to make the call to get the food ordered, and making sure that everything kind of, the ideas that we're putting into place are now like we're following through on them and putting the ideas into concrete, tangible things that we can touch, taste, hear, and or smell, right? And then we go to our mutable signs. Our mutable signs are like the people of the day of, where it's like, okay, food's coming in, like here's the location, here's what we got going on, and then like they come in on that day and are like, okay, we are here. Let's get everything set up. And then when they get there and they try setting things up, it's almost like, oh, this is going to be an outside event. Hey, it's supposed to rain today. You know, we should probably get some canopies up. Oh, this food right here, this is supposed to be served warm. But we don't have anything warm to maybe insulate it with. So let's go figure out a way to keep the food warm for a few hours. They're the ones who is like, hey, when things just come up in the middle of the day, they're like, oh, let's do X, Y, and Z to maybe keep the things moving and have everything like peacefully and smoothly come together, even though there might be minor inconveniences along the way. That's my very generalized example of how each of the modalities kind of work within like a party planning sense. Again, it's supposed to be fairly general. It doesn't need to be like, oh, this is exactly how they all work. It's still very much like a general ideation of how things can work in a different way. Alrighty. So next here, now that we got kind of our two major groupings out of the way, let's meet the signs, shall we? Which is probably what everyone's here for. And so the first thing that we're going to be looking at is, well, the first zodiac sign, of course. As an Aries, I'm feeling very proud of saying we have the first sign of the zodiac, the Ram, which is Aries. So they are the first zodiac sign, and they are mostly known for being natural-born leaders. They are full of energy and just knowing to be action takers. So they are cardinal sign. Their ruling planet is Mars, which is all about action, desire, aggression. And they are born, we're looking at this from the northern hemisphere. So if you're in the southern hemisphere, it's flipped, I believe. I don't have that off the top of my head, so sorry, but this is for the northern hemisphere, and that is going to be from March 21st to April 19th. They are known for their boldness and drive. They are very adventurous individuals and very enthusiastic as well. Some personality traits that are kind of associated with Aries. They're very bold, independent, passionate, impulsive, some energeticness going on there. And then just some strengths and weaknesses. Strengths for them, again, they're very take charge type of people, and generally very positive. Uh, some of their weaknesses, though, is that they can rush into decisions without thinking too much, as well as sometimes they can be a little bit self-centered and prioritize themselves above others. I'm not saying that happens all the time as fellow Aries, and I'm like, ha ha ha, hi guys. But sometimes we can also be a little impatient, short-tempered. Hi. We are most of the time pushed there from an Aries, right? Right. Some people might have different opinions on Aries. I love us. Other people might not. Whoever, whatever. It'll be a good time, right? So that's kind of just some generalness about Aries. I've also known them to just be like, you kind of just, Aries are like, hey, there's the goal. Oh, goal, shiny thing. Let's go for the goal. And they kind of get blinders kind of get put on them, and then they kind of just go for the goal without like thinking about others around them. I've been known to do this. I've known other Aries to do this. What can I say? You give us a goal. We're pretty goal-oriented people over here. Hi. So, all right. So the next sign is going to be Taurus, aka the Bull. So Taurus signs are ruled by the planet of Venus, which is all about love, beauty, and art. They are most characterized by their strength, determination, and reliability, and they are born between April 20th and May 20th. Some personality traits about them is that they're very practical and stable individuals. They're pretty patient, loyal, and they also like the finer things in life. So you probably know a couple Tauruses who they like to have their creature comforts, right? Some of their strengths and weaknesses, so strengths that they have, is they can be pretty determined. Once they have a goal, they go for it. Hey, don't take our goal orientation stuff over here, Taurus. That's an Aries thing sometimes. Okay, I also have a beef with Tauruses. I have a beef. I don't know why. I just have a beef. It just is the way it is. Come fight me, other Tauruses. Come fight me. Who knows? It might be a good time. I don't know. I just have a beef with them. It's okay. They're also very reliable individuals, and they appreciate the finer things in life, arts, beauty, and nature. Some weaknesses, though, that they may have. They're stubborn. They're very stubborn. That might be a reason why me and Taurus is, because we're both stubborn individuals. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. They can also be a little bit possessive. They can struggle with jealousy, as well as sometimes they like the finer things in life a little bit too much and can overindulge every once in a while. But that can be whether that's in food, excess, spending, and or leisure. So, alrighty. So, the next one we have the twins, Gemini. So, they are the third zodiac. Third sign of the zodiac. Gosh darn it all. And they're characterized by their duality and versatility. They are ruled by the sign of Mercury, which is all about communication, intellect, and reason. They are very interesting individuals, and they typically have like a dual personality to them, where they kind of have almost embody like two sides. It's like they're one way over here and they're another way over here, and it's like do 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 do. They are born between May 21st and June 20th. Some personality traits that they have is that they thrive in social settings, and they really like new people typically. They're very intellectual. They're very inquisitive. They like to ask questions and learn about a great deal of many things. Some strengths that they do have is that they are very good at expressing themselves, communication. They're very playful, fun-loving, always have a good sense of humor to them, typically. And then they're also very creative. You're going to find Geminis typically in very creative fields, or if they're not in a creative field, they have a creative outlet that they do have, whether that's through art, uh, yeah, whether that's through like expressing themselves through like art, music, and the such. Some weaknesses that they can have: they can be indecisive. They like to look at things from two sides, and they can struggle because they like having lots of options. They can be a little bit superficial because they like to be more jack of all trades versus like a master versus like master of none. And they can also be pretty restless. They like to learn a lot. They like to have new things in front of them. Ooh, shiny, right? So it can be, so Geminis can struggle sometimes when it comes to committing to long-term projects and or relationships. All right. Next we have the crab, aka cancers. So I love me a cancer. I love cancers. They're great. We get along most of the time. It's a good time. I love them. It's wonderful. But they are the fourth sign of the zodiac, and they're characterized by themes of protection, emotional depth, and nurturing. They are ruled by the moon, which is all about emotions, instincts, and habits. And they're typically born between June 21st and July 22nd. They are very warm and compassionate people who thrive in nurturing roles and value emotional connections and the comforts of home above a lot of other things typically. So just some other general personality traits of cancers. They're very protective of their loved ones, and when it comes and can be defensive when it comes to their feelings. They're very nurturing. They have a strong desire to take care of others, and they are very emotional and highly intuitive and empathetic of other people around them. Strengths that they do have is that they're very loyal and devoted to loved ones. They're creative, imaginative, as well as just having a very strong emotional intelligence. So, able to help others and understand others from an emotional standpoint. Some weaknesses that they can have is they can be overly sensitive and or moody. They can struggle with letting go of the past sometimes, and they do have a tendency to retreat into their shell when hurt, because it's like, I need to protect myself, and that's okay. That is okay. There's no worries with that, okay? Sometimes you need time away from yourself. Others are like, I need to confront the situation. Others are like, I need to do some hermiting mode before I come out, which is fine. It's okay. Everyone has their different ways of doing things. All right. The next one is the lion, aka Leos. So, Leos are characterized typically by their stability, loyal, and consistency. They are ruled by the planet of the sun and are known for their creativity, independence, and are very loud, proud, and found in the center of a crowd. So, they are born between July 23rd and August 22nd. Some general personality traits that they do have is that they can be a little bit dramatic, but they're big-hearted and fun-loving, loyal. They love to put their heart into every relationship that they are a part of. Some strengths that they have: they're very generous, and they're actually phenomenal planners. So like they're really good at getting everyone kind of on the same page and leading towards people to a common goal. They also have an enthusiasm for life and are very creative thinkers. Some weaknesses that they do have though can be, once they have their mind made up, it's kind of there, and it's like, come hell or high water, it's staying the dang same. They can also be a little bit overconfident and reckless, and they can be a little bit feisty, aggressive, and sometimes a little bit sensitive and very prideful. So when they maybe feel a small slate has been made against them, they can spiral down into like a self-doubt spiral sometimes. It's hard to get them there though, but it can and sometimes does happen. All right. All right, the next one we have is Virgo, aka the Virgin. So, Virgos are the sixth sign of the zodiacs, and they are characterized by their practicality, attention to detail, and analytical nature. They are ruled by the planet of Mercury, and which is known for communication, intellect, and reason. So, Virgos and Gemini are both ruled by the planet of Mercury. And Virgos really embody a blend of practicality and intellect, making them very reliable and hardworking individuals. They are born between August 23rd and September 22nd. And just some general personality traits of them is that they can be very analytical, helpful, detail oriented, and practical and grounded. I haven't met a Virgo who doesn't kind of who can just be like sit down and get their shit done when their mind comes to it. They're also very much oriented of like I like having the things I have around me and being able to make sure that I can provide. Some other strengths that they do have is they're very reliable friends and family, as well as they're just extremely efficient at whatever tasks that they have been given. Whether you're trying to be like, hey, I need this thing made, it'll be done in a very quick, mindful manner. Some weaknesses that they can have, though, that they can be perfectionists, and this is kind of like it's like I need to have everything in alignment and how I think it is supposed to be, and that can be a struggle for some. They're also prone to overthinking and struggling with analysis paralysis and getting stuck in their thoughts before actually acting upon the things that they need to do. All right. Next, we are halfway through, and that is all. And next, we're going to go to Libras, aka the scale. So, they are the seventh sign of the zodiac, and they are characterized by balance, harmony, and justice. Their ruling planet is Venus, which is known for love, beauty, and art. They share the same ruling planet as Taurus, and they are known for their pursuit of balance and their ability to connect with others, making them wonderful friends and companions. They are born between September 23rd and October 22nd, and kickstart the season of fall. It's just some general personality traits about Libras is they're very social and charming individuals. They like to weigh all their options sometimes, as well as they're very good at mediating conflicts between two differing sides or opponents. Some strengths that they do have is that they have a very strong sense of justice. They're adaptable and open-minded, as well as just being excellent communicators overall. Some weaknesses that they can have is that they can struggle with confrontation with other people. They do have a tendency to avoid making tough decisions, and sometimes they can be overly accommodating, where if you try and make a decision, well, it's like we need to make sure that this person's involved, or like they're happy, or this person's happy. And that can just be a struggle for some. We have got Scorpion, aka Scorpios. So, Scorpios are the eighth sign of the zodiac, and they are characterized by their intensity, passion, and depth. They are ruled by Pluto, which can show up in two different forms or symbols on a birth chart, which I have here. We have the P with the leg, and then we also have the other more traditional sign of Pluto, which some people use. So Pluto is known for the transformation, obsession, and power. Scorpios are typically born between October 23rd and November 21st, and they are typically very complex individuals who embody strength and depth, making them very intriguing and amorphous individuals. Some personality traits that they do have is they tend to be agnatic and often keep feelings hidden. They're very passionate. They have a great fierce intensity for learning about life, and they're also very loyal to their loved ones. But they do expect the same in return. Some strengths that they do have is they're very intuitive, brave. They're not afraid to confront difficult situations, and they're very transformative. They often rise to and from challenges much stronger than they were before. Some weaknesses that they do have is that they can be jealous. Their passionate nature can lead to jealousy and possessiveness. They can have very intense emotions that can sometimes be overwhelming to them and lead to dramatic reactions from overwhelming emotions. They can also be kind of secretive and may struggle to open up with others around them and kind of seem a little bit closed off every once in a while. All right. So next we have the Archer, aka Sagittarius. So Sagittarius they're the ninth sign of the zodiac and are often characterized by their adventurous spirit and optimism and love for freedom. So their ruling planet is Jupiter, which is all about expansion, optimism, and abundance. They are seen as the explorers of the zodiac, always seeking the next horizon and eager to share their insight with others. Some general personality traits about them. Well, first, they're born between November 22nd to December 21st, and some general personality traits about them is they're very independent individuals, free roaming. They do not like being tied down to where they're at. They're very adventurous as well as philosophical and contemplate life's big questions, and they like to seek the deeper truths of life. They're also pretty straightforward about how their thoughts and their feelings and can come off a little blunt sometimes. Uh, just their strengths, again, they're very open minded, optimistic, enthusiastic, and adventurous. Some of their weaknesses, though, impulsive, tactless, and can be overconfident. Alrighty, next. So next we have the horned goat, which is, well, the horned goat, which is Capricorn. So they're the 10th sign of the zodiac and are characterized by their ambition, practicality, and disciplined approach to life. They're ruled by the planet of Saturn, which is all about restriction, pessimism, and structure. They are seen as the builders of the zodiac and are focused on achieving their dreams and creating lasting foundations in their lives. So they are born between December 22nd and January 19th. They kickstart the season of winter. So just some general personality traits about them. They are very disciplined individuals. They're practical, realistic. And they make pretty achievable goals for themselves that they know that they can get. They're also very ambitious and work very, very hard to reach said goals. Just some other strengths for them is they're hardworking, responsible, disciplined, and strategic. However, some of their weaknesses, they can be very pessimistic, stubborn, and overly critical of themselves and others around them. Okay, next we have got Aquarius, or the 11th zodiac sign, for they are known as the water bearers, and they are characterized by their innovative, independent, and humanitarian spirit. They are ruled by the planet of Uranus, which is all about rebellion, eccentricity, and upheaval. So Aquarians are known to be the visionaries of the zodiac, driven by a desire to make the world a better place while embracing unique perspectives. They are born between January 20th and February 18th. They're typically, personality-wise, they're very independent. They march to the beat of their own drum, y'all. I haven't met an Aquarian that I can be like, hey, let's go over and do this. And they're like, no, I'm going to go do my own thing, which is good. I love it. It's great. Independence to the people. Otherwise, they're very humanitarian. They can be a little bit quirky and unconventional as well. But they do have a lot of forward thinking ideas where it's like, we're not just sticking here in the past. We're looking also here into the future. Just some strengths that they have is they're very friendly, they can be analytical, inventive, and open-minded. Some weaknesses, though, is that they can be unpredictable with their march to the beat of their own drum, as well as being a little bit aloof, as well as kind of coming off detached from situations, people, places, and or things around them. Okay, and now the last one, but not least, my faves, Pisces, the fish. The fish. So our fish are the 12th sign of the zodiac, and they're characterized by their sensitivity, creative, and deep emotional understanding. They are ruled by the planet of Neptune, which is all about imagination, dreams, and sometimes delusions. They're seen as the dreamers of the zodiac sign, blending sensitivity with creativity and a desire to connect with the world on a profound level. They are born typically they are born between February 19th and March 20th. Just some general personality traits about Pisces is they can be very intuitive. They like to see things from beyond just what's on the surface. They can be dreamy and have just lots of romantic or idealistic views on life, sometimes losing touch with reality, as well as just being very highly attuned with the emotions of others around them. Some strengths that they do have are they're very compassionate, artistic, adaptable, and intuitive, but some weaknesses that they can be escapist, overly emotional and indecisive with a little bit of more of that dual nature as well. So that's what I kind of have here. So to kind of recap everything, the wrap up, for most of our signs, there is a lot that is going for all of our signs, whether we are just putting them all together in a way of, hey, let's group them together. Hey, let's see what they all mean. Again, what I have here is just the basics of kind of what are the zodiac signs, getting just a general basis of what each one kind of encompasses, what are some general personality traits, what are some keywords that we can kind of associate with each one. uh, as we're kind of going into, this is what I really do have. We're looking at the how everything kind of works together. What are signs that are associated with what things, so we can not associate generalities to them, but get a general understanding of what role that they play. What are kind of the basis? What is the base understanding of each one? So as we kind of now add, okay, houses, and we add planets, how does that all interact with each other? And are there planets that work better with other signs? Are there signs that work like better with other planets? Like, we're going to be looking into that into part 2, where we're going over planets. Who are they? What do they mean? Do they have friends? Do they have foes? And everything in between. So, uh, with that, then, thank you so much for listening to me on this little Learn With Me introductory phase thingy-mabobber that we got going on here with the Learn With Me Astrology series. If you guys have any questions or you guys have your own thoughts, let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear them, and I'd love to interact with you guys as you all get to learn alongside of me whenever you're watching, whether this is right as I'm posting, years later, or the such. This is supposed to be kind of fun. I'm learning just as you guys are learning. If you guys know more than me, awesome, great. I know a little bit more than this, but I'm just trying to put everything into a really kind of neat packaged bow for people who are just getting into it, are just brand new to everything, and just trying to get some generalizations out there so we can just start somewhere before we kind of jump headfirst into what the heck is a birth chart. How do we read it? What does everything mean? So this is where I wanted to start. This is how we're going to start. And I'm excited to see you guys in part 2 for just going over the planets and how they're all interacting with each other. So thank you all so very much for listening. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.